With city officials and residents pushing hard for a Level 3 withdrawal management facility in the Soo, a drug action plan has been implemented. For the first time, the public was welcomed to Algoma Public Health to learn more about the new plan, which saw over 60 recommendations that included 11 priorities for the community. Drug Strategy Coordinator Charles Shamus held a media scrum following that presentation.
You talked about people will be able to track progress on these priorities. How is the website going to do that?
Well, we will have all of the priorities listed there, but then there's 62 recommendations. We're not going to tackle number 1 and then number 2 and number 3. We're going to go after the ones that are most important right now and that the community and the community of service providers can tackle. So we may do number 13 and number 27. Those will be turned into a work plan, and so there'll be a smaller subcommittee. Let's say one of the things we're going to do is try to increase access, timely access for youth to treatment. So we'll get the youth service providers into a subcommittee, and then we will have a work plan to do that, and that will be on the website.
You're saying you're not going to go in order. You'll go as the priorities are.
Yeah, and we'll also frankly go, if there's funding available for that thing, then we'll go for that one.
Okay. Well, what's the timeline? When are you hoping to touch on all these 62?
Well, over the next number of years, but we've already started. So there are 6 or 7 projects that we're in the early developmental phase, including anti-stigma discrimination training and campaigns, including timely access to youth to treatment, including a more robust and evidence-based education program for youth in terms of their resiliency and their strengths. We're looking at a mini project in Garden River for their community. That's it for now.
How many people did you talk to? Did you interview as part of this call to action?
Dozens. I didn't do that. That was Natalie's job. But certainly there were 30 plus service providers and then dozens of individuals, as well as many of the drug strategies around the province, because almost every community has one. And so each new drug strategy builds on what others have done in the past.
And those individuals, are these family members who lost a loved one? Or are they people who use...
Both. Family members, people with lived experience, clients of agencies, service providers at the front line.
The 7 public health units in Northern Ontario will be working together on climate change, health vulnerability, and adaptation reports over the next 2 years with funding support from Health Canada. The reports developed during this project will help public health units understand what changes to expect and begin to prepare for them. Some climate change impacts in Northern Ontario are expected to be more severe than in Southern Ontario. Also, differences in our geography, population density, and Indigenous populations mean the health effects of climate change will be felt differently than in Southern Ontario. Local meetings will be held to educate partners about the effect of climate change on health and explore possible future policies and programs that might help people adapt to the changes that are happening. Separate reports will be produced for each health unit region. Along with APH, health units involved are including North Bay, Parry Sound, Northwestern, Sudbury Districts, Thunder Bay District, and Temiskaming. The Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry, Sault Ste. Marie District, is advising Blind River area residents that a flood warning is in effect until tomorrow. Residents along the Blind River system should keep a close watch on conditions, regularly check for updated messages, and stay away from fast-moving rivers and streams. Residents within the Blind River watershed are advised that the risk of flooding is high and that some low-lying areas are already experiencing flood conditions, and rain is expected to bring an additional 10 to 20 millimeters of water. The ministry is closely monitoring the weather and developing watershed conditions. Jason Kenney will meet face-to-face today with the political foe he attacked relentlessly in his successful bid to become Alberta's premier, Prime Minister Justin Trudeau. The two are to meet this afternoon in the Prime Minister's office just hours after Kenney is to testify before a Senate committee studying the government's bill to rewrite the rules for environmental assessments of energy projects. Kenney is a former federal Conservative cabinet minister and calls the bill the No Pipelines Act and wants it scrapped. He spent as much or more time during the Alberta election campaign attacking Trudeau than his main provincial adversary, Rachel Notley, whose NDP government was defeated on April 16th. He has promised to fight the Liberals in court over the imposition of a carbon tax and has threatened to hold a referendum on federal equalization if there's no substantive progress on building a pipeline to get Alberta's oil to Tidewater for shipment to overseas markets. University of Chicago professor William Howell says Attorney General William Barr's performance before the Senate Judiciary Committee was impressive for its calm, but corroded public perceptions of independence.
Entering into this arena, given this hand, is really difficult, on the one hand. On the other hand, I think it also is pretty clear that Barr is behaving exactly as Trump would have him behave. The fact that these concerns are being articulated not just by congressional Democrats, but by Mueller himself, underscores this deeper concern that Barr is doing the bidding of the president and not upholding the independence of the Office of Attorney General.